Trusting God in difficult times. Do bad days and tough times reveal your true character like everyone says? Sounds unjust, right? Because what then would happen to all the good deeds we have done before now? But do you also know that as controversial as that sounds, there is no denying that keeping your calm in the midst of chaos and uncertainty says a lot about your faith and your understanding of life in general, right? Because the truth is, when everything is fine, then everyone tends to believe in something. Everyone trusts in the process, whatever it is that they are doing, but when things start to go a little towards south, only a few continue to believe, as the other majority run to find new things to believe in for inspiration. Yet we know that things would not always be great forever. Even if they are great now, we are well aware that they have not always been like this, for times do change, situations also change, and most notably, people do change. And if for the reasons that there are occasional changes everywhere, and so we should also change our source of inspiration every other time, would we not wear ourselves out in the process? Would the constant chop and change even be worth it if the process comes with no stability and assurance? And finally, whatever it is that you are working so hard to preserve and improve in your life, whether your job, your marriage, your education, your relationships with people and also with God, would you even give it your all, knowing that every now and then you would be sniffing around to jump on the latest alluring trend? The answer, beloved, is a simple no. You see, the good times are obviously great, a lot of merry-making, many happy faces, and all that, but does it really last? Remember when the pandemic brought the whole world to its knees in 2020, everything else ceased to matter. The ironic thing is, not everyone was living their best lives before the pandemic, but suddenly, while stuck within the confines of our homes, unable to give our loved ones a hug, or even shake their hands, everyone wanted their old lives back. Nobody cared about their debts owed, problems faced, their unemployment troubles any longer. People yearned for some stability back in their lives because that is all that mattered at the time, not money, pedigree, number of friends, or anything else. Just stability. And all through the hardship at the time too, the hope that normalcy would soon be restored, kept people going. Like, though we all did not know when, the uncanny feeling of hope that things would be fine once again was everything. In fact, we are all here and giving life a go again because of that feeling. So, first, a sense of stability, and then, a feeling of hope or assurance. These two are just the perfect combination to get you through any kind of hardship or difficult situations in life. But here is the interesting part: these two positive feelings are not something you are born with. You develop them as you continually choose to believe in something from time to time. While mentioning earlier that things, situations, times, and people change, I left this vital piece out: that God does not change. He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He was there since the beginning of the first man, he was there in the lifetime of Christ, and he is still here 2,000 years later after Christ's death. He is the only constant in this life, the only one deserving of your trust. Many have fallen in the past, and many shall continue to fall even now to all sorts of personal and general hardships, but in all these, those who place their trust in God are safe. For all people are like grass, and their faithfulness is like the flowers of the field. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God stands forever. 1 Peter 1 verse 24. Brethren, in these tough times, you can work so hard, but still not get recognized, but remember, that is not going to be your story forever. They can lay you off at work, which shall cause you so much trouble and sleepless nights, especially when you think about how to put food on your table. The feeling is going to hurt, but know that that is not the end of your story. The person you love can break your heart. They can even go as far as betray you with your best friend. You are going to be filled with so much pain and rage, but you need to trust in God to make all that pain worth it in the end. Else, it shall all amount to nothing. As long as the sun never ceases to shine, as long as there is air to breathe, as long as the oceans and their habitats do not run dry, there is always hope of a better ending for your life. Even when these signs and symbolisms are no more, God says it is still not over for you. God has His way of always coming through for His faithful children no matter how dire the situation. Very soon, you shall have the last laugh, and you shall have it in abundance. You shall not even look like someone who shed a tear not too long ago. All those who hurt and mocked you shall see you and become amazed. You shall experience God's love firsthand, and it is going to transform and restore you far beyond your imaginations. You only have to keep trusting in the goodness of the Lord, His good but mysterious ways. It is this unwavering trust that develops the assurance that everything will be fine again, even better than before. And when that happens, there shall be stability again, even more joyous and peaceful than before. The Bible explains in Job 1 that Job was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Job possessed all the wealth, affluence, and blessings you can think of: 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. Then suddenly, calamity after calamity befell Job, and one after the other. He saw everything that he held dearly perish, from his sheep, to camels, to yoke of oxen, to donkeys, to even his 7 sons and 3 daughters. Even his servants were not spared, as about only 4 of them remained to report the tragic news to him. He tore his robe and entered a period of great mourning. Till date, no man has ever suffered as much calamity in succession than Job did. And worse for Job, he suffered sores all over his body, from the sole of his feet to the crown of his head. He sat at one place, mourning for days and months. 3 of his closest friends sought to provide him some comfort, but their words of comfort were still not enough. But when they were all done talking, God came through with the final say. He proved to Job and all men alive that his plans, though unpredictable, were great and can never be thwarted. God restored Job, granted him double of the blessings and possessions he once knew, for Job's faith in God was genuine, and it never wavered for even the tiniest little bit throughout his mourning. And though Job's understanding was limited, as with every man's, it was ultimately his unprecedented trust in the goodness of God that brought him hope and the stability he once knew. Brethren, it is not always the case that every calamity or suffering that befalls us, it is as a result of some wrongdoing on our part. This was the thought process of Job's friends, who thought he was perhaps not as righteous as he thought he was. As much as the need for clarity for our troubles and predicaments is tempting, it is not the most important thing to go after in this period. Sometimes, probing for answers would leave you with more and more regrets. Understanding the ways of God is a burden you do not need to carry upon your shoulders. Let God be God. Yours is to simply go with the flow that challenges and difficulties are part of the journey. If all has to be well to test how many of us trust in God, would people not be fools to still want to be on the other side? Or should God's plans be understood before you can believe in His goodness? What then would be the point of faith? You do too much asking questions no man has ever had the privilege of finding answers to. Do not worry too much about things you cannot possibly ever understand. Friendly reminder, Job did not do too much. We only see the results of God's plans, and never the plan itself. You would be mistaken in the first place, to focus your attention on trying to understand the ways of God. He only grants the level of understanding that He pleases to grant unto us. He allows us that which He pleases us to see. Our primary focus then, like Romans 8 verse 28 proclaims, is to trust that in all things, God is working everything for our good, and in His appointed time, all His good deeds shall come to light for us to see. Only this, we must do, and nothing else. So, beloved, your marriage is falling apart even though you still revere the Lord? Your business is failing even though you give out your tithe faithfully? Your friends have betrayed and deserted you even though you have not done them any wrong? Well, the good thing in all these is that God is present all through it all and He sees everything. But also, the striking thing here is that He takes note of your character in these difficult situations. He monitors your utterances and how you carry yourself about. Your comportment in this period is key. And so, brethren, trusting in God in difficult times and impossible situations demands remarkable patience. But patience here is more than just lying in wait for your blessings to come. Patience here explains in detail how faithful you still remain to God throughout your troubles. Be careful to carry yourself well, so as not to miss out on the great things God has prepared for you, else you suffer for nothing. And when you do all this, just as you have been advised, God will eventually bring His relief to you and your household, just like He did for Job. Psalm 34 verse 19 reassures us of this, that the righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. Carry on with the Job approach. Do not talk ill against God or His ways. Do not question His sense of proportion. Do not wear yourself out trying to understand why all of that have happened, because no matter how hard you try to understand, you shall not understand the plans of God who has allowed them happen. You just keep believing that everything is happening for nothing but your own good as they have been orchestrated by God's masterful hands, and so shall it be, in Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Thank you for making time to listen to the message about trusting God in impossible and difficult situations today. If you have been inspired, which I believe you have, kindly share this message to bless someone today. Thank you for doing so, and see you again soon.